Boy, is it getting silly season around the Cleveland Browns. What did Drennan say the other day? Wow. You know it's pretty big when you have a lot of national reporters and you get your own little side thing of exploring on Twitter about a Dak Prescott rumor being debunked. And Drennan, a part of us here at Big Play, got some news. Apparently that maybe isn't going to happen, but it all circles back to the craziness that is the Cleveland Browns right now. Plenty to discuss there. What are we talking about? Guards! Opening day for the Guardians. So excited. Later in the show, you're going to want to stick around for this. Justin Lada, locked on guards. We'll talk rotation. We'll talk lineup. You're ready to go for a great season of baseball with the Guardians. We'll sprinkle in some Cavs getting off that West Coast trip. Maybe a curveball on the Immaculate Grid there, Ryan?
Oh, God.
Maybe we'll do baseball on the Immaculate Grid. We got it all for you right here on the Fontana Show, right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. Ryan Tyler is so disgusted with me.
I miss those every day.
I know. I try. Well, it's good. It's a good curveball. Sometimes you miss a curveball from time to time. We'll get to all that coming up. We'll get to the grid. Plenty of Browns, Guardians, and Cavs to get to. Presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford over there and Garage Beer. We love, dude. I shout out to Always Golf. It's a new simulator out there in Westlake. They got a big garage beer display there with Travis and Jason Kelsey. And I enjoyed a nice garage beer golf with my buddy Jordan the other night. So shout out to them. We'll tell you more about Fairway Ford coming up in just a little bit. All right. I don't think the Browns are trading for Dak Prescott. So Bruce lit the world on fire with his source that said they're working on this trade. And yes, like the cost, it's probably not going to happen. And I don't listen. You got to talk to Bruce about all that kind of information. But here's the thing that that's the state of where the Browns are at. Nobody really knows. And the thing is, it's two fronts. It's the people have questions on the draft, and they're not all sold on Shedeur Sanders, which seems to be now the pick. But then Adam Schefter's on NFL Live Wednesday night saying he thinks the Browns taking Abdul Carter at 2.
Yeah, and he'll change his mind 6 more times. He also said, 2 weeks ago, the Browns are 100% taking a quarterback? I'm not saying Adam Schefter doesn't know his stuff, because if anybody knows their stuff, it's going to be Adam Schefter. But my point being, when I bring that up, is nobody knows.
No, that's the thing. And this is all an ebb and flow situation. Coming up, I want to talk about the Cam Ward Pro Day. And they got a private workout with him and what that all means. And ownership meeting with David Njoku. They wouldn't meet with Miles, but they're going on to meet with David Njoku. Whatever, fine. Like, you don't know, because we are, in essence, a month out from the draft. Like, that's where we'll be. And a lot can change from now to then. The thing is, lock in Cam Ward. All right? And I would love nothing more than for the Browns to make that move and go up from 2-1 to go take Cam Ward. I believe in Cam Ward. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL, and I would explore those trades. Now, what are the Titans doing? They're playing the games of, well, we're going to lock into Cam Ward, and we'd only, get blown away with an offer to pick up the phone. They're asking for people to call. But I think deep down, they're going to take Cam Ward. It doesn't mean that Andrew Berry shouldn't still make that phone call. And the one thing, because the Titans GM. Is it that Borgonzi guy?
Yes,
That's him.
Mike Borgonzi.
That's it. They were down there at that pro day, and the Browns didn't send Andrew Berry. Here's my only complaint about that. I don't need him there talking about Cam Ward. I don't need him there watching Cam Ward. I'm assuming the scouting report on Cam Ward is done. Can't you slide off and say, hey, Mike, can I talk to you real quick? Part of being an NFL general manager is being a salesman. You sometimes need to make people make moves that are against their best interest. Where's that little pull them aside? Hey, can we talk about a deal here? What are you thinking for what? It's like the personal communication that you got to have to make some of these moves. I know Andrew Berry can do it. He makes a lot of trades. Like, that's the only miss that I really saw of them not being at Cam Ward's pro day. Because again, they got the private workout. I don't think there's any debate to be had. If Cam Ward is somehow there at 2, you take him. We now have to shift our focus to, is it worth trading up to number 1? And you could look at trade charts and say, okay, it'd be obviously you'd flip picks, but then do you give him 33? Do you give him the 60 pick? Do you give him a future 2? Those are conversations that I'm begging the Cleveland Browns to have. I need them to walk away when it becomes too crazy. I'm not talking about giving up 3 first-round picks for this. No. But what you got to do is explore that. because at this point, nothing has changed for the Cleveland Browns. You still have got to find your future franchise quarterback. I believe it is Cam Ward. I am now entrenched. He's not going to be there at 2. Focus on moving up to 1. Ryan, I'd make that trade. I would somehow find a way. Would I give up 33? Yeah. There, I said it. If that's all it took was 2 and 33, I'd do it. Now, I need my other picks because I need to go get me a running back. I need to go get me some offensive line help. They're going to draft a tight end. But if that's all that it truly took, I'd do it.
Couple things. It all depends on price, of course, and also how the Browns view it. Is it a 1A, 1B between Cam and Shedeur? I know a lot of people don't have it that way. Or do you think there's a big gap between those? Because if you do, and you believe Cam is truly by far the best quarterback, I suppose, yeah, you entertain trading up to 1. But to that point, I think if the price was just you swap, you give them 2 and you give them 33, if the Titans were willing to accept that, to me, that would signal they're bluffing the whole time.
I mean, you got to, and how do you call a bluff? You got to put your cards down, or you got to call them on their bluff and see. I do think this is all fodder. I really think the Titans, they've not signed a quarterback. You know, running back with Will Levis.
Hey, they just signed Tim Boyle, I think.
All right, yeah. Hey, good guy for the Immaculate Grid, by the way, is one Tim Boyle there. They're drafting Cam Ward. Like, I truly believe that they are. What you got to do is knock their socks off and try to sell them on Shedeur Sanders that he's going to be the guy. Yeah, you can give me Jalen Milroe later or whatever. Like, I'm not interested in that. If it only costs me 1 extra pick, go make the move. And it might not be. They might want more, but that's kind of where I'm sitting here and what I'm ready to do with the Cleveland Browns. All right, I got to talk more Browns coming up. We'll tell you more about that. We'll get to some Guardians with Justin Lada coming up in just a second. But I tell you about our friends at Fairway Ford, folks. It is truck month. Every month, you need the Super Duties, the F-150s, the Broncos, which I might be getting into sooner rather than later with Fairway Ford. I'll tell you about that coming up. Here's one thing I want to tell you about. They'll deliver anywhere. Out with the Canfield, short drive in Northeast Ohio to get out there. You go to fairwayfordohio.com. You know one of the first things you see on that website, Ryan? They will sell and ship to all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you are. They will ship it to you. They will not be beat on price either. Their inventory is so massive, they're willing to make deals. And you might go in there saying, I want to get this, and this, something extremely specific. I need the tow package. I want the moonroof. I want this color. They might have a pre-owned 140 on the lot already. The deals speak for themselves. When you click on that website, fairwayfordohio.com, most of the cars on there, you'll see an instant Fairway discount right there. Thousands of dollars off. The APRs that you're looking for right there. You're getting into that new truck for the summer. You need that ride to haul the family around. That's kind of where I'm at my stage in life. You need that vehicle. Go to Fairway Ford. You've been waiting so forever. You've been waiting to get that new car. But again, pricing, APRs, and a good quality vehicle, there's only one place to go. That is Fairway Ford. And if you're worried about that short drive, don't be. They'll take care of it for you. You can do a lot of this stuff online. They have a chat feature right on their website. Fairwayfordohio.com. Start it. Add your search there, and you'll be able to peruse and see all the beautiful vehicles there. But it is truck month, so check out those F-150s, the Platinums. They just speak to me for some reason. I want a gray one. Gray. That's my color. That's what I want. Got to get the quad cab, crew cab for the kids, tonneau cover, 4-wheel drive, throw me that tow hitch on there. You got that boat, you got to haul around this summer. Go check them out. Fairwayfordohio.com. Tell we sent you from us right here at Big Play. All right, more Browns. Talk about it next. Stay with us. Do you know how to play dominoes, right? You know, it's an actual game of dominoes where you got to add, like, you know.
Yeah, I've dabbled.
I don't know if I could actually sit down and play it or not. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because a domino has fallen with Russell Wilson going to the Giants. I don't think that changed anything, and I'll tell you why. Welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play, of course, part of the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Matt Fontana. We're talking guards with Justin Lada coming up in just a couple of minutes. You can follow us on Twitter X, at Matt Fontana Show. YouTube is at Big Play. Instagram is Big Play, and that awesome Big Play app. Download it for all of our content, presented by Garage Beer and our friends at Fairway Ford. Russell Wilson changes nothing for the Giants. Nothing. There is nothing about what his deal is that he signed there. They have Jameis, they have Russell Wilson. Did you see Russell Wilson's deal? Everybody goes, $21 million.
Incentives.
He has to go 17-0 to get all $21 million of that. I don't think that's happening. They signed him because they needed somebody to start. That doesn't change anything about them taking Shedeur Sanders. Does it change things for the Browns? Listen, now we're sitting at this point. You got 3 teams with legit quarterback concerns. The Titans, the Steelers, and the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers will sign Aaron Rodgers. That sounds like that's going to happen. And I think the Titans are taking Cam Ward. Here we are standing once again. I'm about to shut down the Kirk Cousins thing. I'm done with it. They want to play this game. He doesn't want to get penixed again. He wants to wait till after the draft. We're done. The question is, are you just willing to then rip Shedeur Sanders at 2? Ryan, you've been on that. I need a quarterback. Again, if you can't make that trade to go get Cam Ward, take Shedeur Sanders at 2 and develop him and see what you got. I'm willing to go all in on it. I am.
I've been off the Kirk Cousins thing before that even started, but I'm glad you've come to the light side.
You're breaking me down over it.
But the thing is, I mean, drafting a quarterback at 2. I mean, a lot of this goes back to, I think, if you're Andrew Berry, you're Kevin Stefanski, you're drafting on a type of faith of, is Jimmy Haslam going to have the patience to keep you around if you do get another 3-4 win season? Because let's say you draft Abdul Carter. I mean, I think it's realistic that Abdul Carter can come in and make an impact and be a great draft pick, but there's still the reality that that translates to another 5-6 win season.
You've had Miles. There's advanced stats about the Browns blitzing and pressure rate. I don't want to say you don't need Abdul Carter because I'm sure he's going to be fine. It's kind of become the narrative. He doesn't put points up on the board. You need a quarterback. And you're right about talking more specifically, I think, about Andrew Berry. What's going to save his job? A quarterback. That is literally it. That's the only thing that is going to save his job. And I think he's going to have to take one.
And it also supposedly is what keeps Miles in town. I mean, I still think it was all about, it wasn't initially about the money. It wasn't initially, but then he realized he probably overplayed his hand. He said, hey, I'll just be the richest non-quarterback, at least for a week. It was until Jamar took it.
And I sent the clip out from the Siciliano podcast about Miles going, yeah, I know. Really? Okay. The thing is, with so many of these, the control is not in your power. You've got to wait to see what happens in the draft. You have to wait to see what happens with Kirk Cousins. And they're all a bunch of not great options, right? So if you're talking about a pool of bad options, go with a young drafted guy. This is why I'm getting in arguments with people on Twitter about this. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston. It's a waste of time. It is a giant waste of time. People go, well, you got to put somebody out there that can at least try to win some games to keep this locker room together. If I'm in that locker room, why not give him some hope? You have no hope. Oh, he's a bridge guy. He'll get you to next year. What's next year? Why are we waiting? Do I know for a fact Shedeur Sanders is going to become an all-pro quarterback? No. I have no idea. But at least there's a chance.
Exactly. And who's to say it's not going to be Shedeur? And also,
maybe it is.
You have to level your expectations because when it comes down to it, does Russell Wilson give you a better chance of winning next year than Shedeur Sanders? Sure. I don't know the answer to that. Honestly, probably. Right. He's a damn rookie. You don't see Jaden Daniels and CJ Strouds every year. It just so happened to be this way the last 2 years. But it comes down to you can't expect the Browns to go to the playoffs next year. Odds are it's not going to happen. It's just it's not going to happen. Odds are. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
It's very possible. But you have to be okay with that because if you draft Shedeur and he looks good, nobody was excited about Tyrod Taylor starting when you had Baker coming in the rookie year. But leaving that season, you felt good because you saw what Baker could be and you had faith going into next year. And then you reap the benefits of it the following year by going to the playoffs. You just have to be okay with not being good for a little bit longer.
Take a chance. Everybody wants safe. Everybody wants you. I'm sorry. The only way to get out of this, you got to take a chance.
Worst case scenario, you find out if you potentially have a future with a quarterback.
Right.
Best case scenario, a Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud.
Or we'll just do it again next year.
Right.
We'll just do it again next year. There's nothing wrong with doing that. We'll do it again. All right. Guardians opening day. Let's talk all guards. Justin Lada, Locked On Guards, joins us next. Fontana Show, presented by Fairway Ford and Garage Beer on The Rock and Big Play. Guards are next. It is one of the best days in the sports year. Opening day. Can the Guardians do it again? Surprise everybody. Get back to some October baseball. Talk about it. Welcome back, Fontana Show, right here on Big Play, the Rock Entertainment Sports Network, presented by Fairway 4 and our friends at Garage Beer. Let's get some insight on those Guards. No better person to do it than Justin Lada. You can check out Justin on Twitter, Blue Sky everywhere, JL_baseball, Locked On Guardians, the podcast to get everywhere. Justin, I was telling my neighbors, a big fan of Locked On Guardians, as we all should be. Justin, happy opening day, man. Appreciate your time.
Happy opening day, man. It's a holiday. I'm dressed like it's a holiday. Your neighbor's got good taste. I'm ready to roll. It's early in the morning, but I feel energized. I'm ready to go.
It is, and I love that, today would have been a perfect day for opening day here in town, but listen, start on the road. I've asked for it for years. I don't like getting snowed out, so here we start against Kansas City. So again, we're recording this early Thursday morning, so they've not played yet, but this is a season preview with Justin as we go with the Guards. And, I know you guys had this on your Locked On Guardians podcast to start the season about kind of the Guardians getting slept on again. And I click on it everywhere, Justin, and it's predictions for the AL Central. ESPN had it this morning, right? Of their votes, 12 for Kansas City, 11 for the Tigers, 4 for the Twins, and then the Guardians only got 1 vote. Vegas odds, they're third. Loaded question, Justin. Why? Why are the Guardians, as they were AL Central champions, into the postseason, well into the postseason last year, why are they getting slept on again?
Yeah, only thing I can think of is lack of maybe offensive star power. Everybody knows about Jose Ramirez. I mean, Stephen Quad made the All-Star team a year ago. I guess people wonder if he's going to repeat that a little bit. And I guess bullpen regression to me is the logical choice here because they had the best bullpen in baseball a year ago. And those are hard to hold up year over year. If you go back to like 2012, I think the Guardians had the best bullpen ERA in baseball in the last decade. Like no one's had a lower ERA in the bullpen in the last decade. So I can understand there's some regression there. They had one of the worst rotations in baseball last year, but they still made the playoffs in spite of that. The rotation should be better this year. I think the bullpen will regress a little bit, but I think they'll hold off as well. I'm sure people are looking at the Josh Naylor trade, and they're wondering if Carlos Santana can hold off Father Time another year. A lot of people are going to look at the Andres Gimenez trade and say look at that as a sell too. But offensively, they didn't get much from second base last year. Yeah, he's a great defender, but that's not a lot to make up offensively. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for them to be slept on, but they were slept on a year ago too.
Yeah, and like the Naylor trade, I was not bothered by that. I had some real concern. I love Josh Naylor, but I had some real concerns there. And for the money you were paying Andres Gimenez, I got to have a bat. You got to be able to hit. So now that we look at this lineup, I did want to start with Santana because I think as long as Jose Ramirez has been here, Justin, I'm going to ask about protection. I'm going to ask about, do you have somebody that can bat behind him? I know this spring training, we had some thoughts about Jose batting second, and Vogt comes out and he goes, listen, Jose can bat wherever he wants. He has earned that right. What do you think the impact of Santana could be on Ramirez, and where would you bat Jose?
I've been screaming for Jose to hit second for years. I know there are some people who will say, well, your best hitter should hit third, and that's how, modern data shows that hitting second is much better. There are so many opportunities. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if you go back and look at studies, the number 3 hitter hits in the lineup with 2 outs almost all the time, especially in the first inning. Statistically, Jose hitting second is going to get him more at-bats, more RBI opportunities. You get to the 9th inning, he's probably going to be up no matter what. You don't have to get somebody on to get him up in the 9th inning. That's the guy you want up, right? So statistically, in the modern era, that's what you want. You want to get best hitters hitting second. That should have been the case for years. I understand he doesn't feel comfortable doing it. I think that he'll acclimate himself a little bit better this year. And as far as Santana, I mean, yes, you have to worry about protection. You have to worry about, him being 39. Can he hold off Father Time another year? Santana keeps himself in incredible shape. So there is that. He did have a good year last year, a little bit better against lefties than righties. But this is a guy who also is making adjustments as he gets older. Not only is he taking care of his body and staying in good shape, he adjusted some of his batting stance last year. He adjusted his approach at the plate to like a toe tap a little bit. He was able to adjust his swing to adjust the launch angle a little bit. Like, this is a guy who's 39, but he's not set in his ways. So he's a guy who can keep making adjustments. And I know there's going to be a lot of people. Look, Carlos Santana, April is not his month. You go back statistically, it's not his month. So I can imagine us sitting here on May 1st talking about, well, is Carlos Santana cooked? Is this it? Is he 39? This is what it looks like. You're going to have to give him some patience on that. And that might make for a tough month of April. It might. But I think the rotation being improved could help them out a lot early on, too.
Up the middle, obviously, Rocchio showed us so much late in the season last year. They move on from Jimenez. We thought Brito, it's going to be Gabriel Arias to start. What do you see out of those two guys who really, again, of a team that we believe can make the playoffs, shortstop, second base, two crucial positions for two young guys?
Yeah, Brian Rocchio should have a little more confidence this year. He talked about being a little more relaxed in spring training this season. He definitely looks a little noticeably stronger, so he put on some weight, which is good. I think he always needed to do that. And if you go back and look at his minor league career, and it's super dangerous to equate minor league production to major league production because of the gap right now, the way things exist, but he was always a guy that in his second year at a minor league stop always adjusted and got better. So hopefully the second year for him will take the leap a little bit, more confidence, a little bit stronger. He did have that good postseason run, which will be good for him. As far as second base, I really am curious to see how this holds off here, because Gabriel Arias, I don't feel like he necessarily won the job. It was more of, okay, well, this was the best. Yeah, this is the best we could go with right now. And Cleveland loves to say hitters in April struggle that are young and lose confidence because of the weather, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for Juan Brito to go to AAA and sort of get the ball rolling on a good foot for him. He did look like he pressed early on in spring training. He put a lot of pressure on himself. And the big thing with Juan Brito is the bat's got to carry the profile. He doesn't run all that great. He's not a strong defender. You are not looking at, an Andrés Giménez replacement in Juan Brito. Gabriel Arias should give you, I don't know if you're going to get 100%. You're not going to get 100% of the defense. Let's be honest. Nobody's Andrés Giménez defensively. But if you can get 80% of the way there with Arias, you'll still be pretty good defensively. You're going from a Gold Glove to a guy who's a really good defender, who won't make a whole lot of mistakes. Hopefully at second base playing for the first time. But I am curious to see how this thing unfolds throughout the year, because Arias is out of options. And I went back to 2022. The opening day roster in 2022 still had Yu Chang, Bobby Bradley Zimmer on the roster, and those guys were gone within the first couple of days. And I'm not saying Gabriel Arias will be gone tomorrow, but I could see a scenario where Gabriel Arias doesn't have a great April and Juan Brito does, and they make that switch in May, because I think this will be a carryover from spring training a little bit. So I definitely want to watch how Arias adjusts early in the season, if he can make some adjustments hitting wise. Defense, I'm not worried so much, but if Brito has a good April, it might be kind of hard to hold that down if Arias is struggling.
I always bring up Colin Cowgill, Justin, because he was an opening day right fielder for the Guardians. The opening day roster is not the one that you're even going to get into May sometime, so we'll have to see how it goes. Quickly to the outfield, obviously Quan, planted. We don't have to worry about that. You had some positive things about Lane Thomas to say on Locked On Guardians. And Justin, I like that rotation in right field between Manzardo. You put John Kenzie out there. Those guys can play first if they need to. And then I loved getting Nolan Jones back. I think we all read about last season, the injuries, his daughter, and he frankly admitted, I was bad last year. I know it's always going to come down to what you get kind of out of right field and what Lane Thomas can get back. But Justin, the internal Guardians fan that I am here, I'm excited about those guys getting some at-bats, and I'm really interested to see what Lane Thomas has this year.
Yeah, I think this outfield has the most potential we've seen in quite some time from Cleveland, right? Every year they come into the season and you think, well, how are they going to get anybody the outfield? They don't have any outfielders. It doesn't look good. I mean, last year, Tyler Freeman played center field a lot, and he's gone in Colorado now, and he had a good month, but he was really kind of a low offense guy who adjusted to center field. You had Quan, and that was kind of it throughout the year. Nobody really took Estevan Florial and Ramon Laureano were your opening day starters. You're right. We do focus on the opening day roster so much, but it's really about the guys who get the bulk of the at-bats throughout the year and the key points of the year. I do feel as good about this outfield. Maybe I'm drinking some Kool-Aid here, but I do feel as good about the outfield as I have in a while. You mentioned Colin Cowgill. You mentioned guys like Marlon Byrd was a part of that 2016 roster,
Bro,
right?
I was there the day that they announced he got suspended, and he basically, Francona comes in, he goes, yeah, his career's over. He goes, he's not going to keep playing. It's just funny you bring his name. I didn't mean to derail you, but I was like, man, I haven't thought about Marlon Byrd in quite some time.
Yeah, he cleared his locker out that night, and the next day that was awkward. It. It's he just never existed.
It was so weird.
I mean, you've seen that over the years in this outfield. I do think no, you're not going to get 2023 Nolan Jones. He had a 401 BABIP in Colorado and all that stuff, but he played well outside of Colorado. And like you said, he wasn't healthy last year. He was going through a lot of personal stuff. I think a year removed from all that, coming back to a place he's familiar, and he's not going to play every day, right? I think the Rockies really wanted Nolan Jones to be an everyday player for them. And I know he had a great 2023, but sometimes it's hard to play in Colorado with that thin air. It's a big outfield, so that can present a lot of health problems too for guys. You know, they are going to have to watch the injuries, and they're very aware that he's got back issues. He had that back to his time when he was a prospect with Cleveland. But if he's going to play not every day, you have Noel to work in there. We think Jonathan Rodriguez is going to be a part of the roster early on. He might get some reps out there as well. You don't have to play Nolan Jones every day. You can keep him healthy. You can not expose him to left-handers. And Lane Thomas is going into a contract year. This is his free agent year. He was an all-star 2 years ago, and I realize maybe the Nationals weren't the best team and they needed to have a representative, but he was kind of close to a 2020 guy. Can you imagine having an outfielder in Cleveland that's 20 home runs and steals 20 bases? Like that's like found money. It's like gold. That doesn't happen in Cleveland. It hasn't happened since Michael Brantley, Sin Soo Choo. We're talking decades here. If you get Steven Kwan, who's anywhere close as good as he was a year ago, 2020 from Lane Thomas, and if you can get, I don't know, 30 home runs out of right field between Nolan Jones and John Kenzie Noel, think of how much better that outfield is than it has been since 2013 when they had Drew Stubbs and Nick Swisher. And
I love Drew Stubbs.
I was a big Drew Stubbs guy too, but I thought he was going to be a 2020 guy too.
So fast. I was so happy. Like I that was the time too, Justin, we were talking, we had the fastest outfield, in baseball at that time. And it was fun. It was definitely fun. But you're right. The outfield has always kind of been that one circle, the one thing. It just seems like they just couldn't find the guys, or they tried this and tried that. But I'm with you. I'm very excited to see what this outfield is. All right, let's catch a quick break. Justin's not going anywhere. We got to talk pitching, bullpen, and the rotation. We'll do it next. Fontana Show right here on the Big Play Sports Network and The Rock. All right, hopefully Guardians started off with a win. We recorded this a little earlier on Thursday, opening day. Always a great day. We're talking baseball right here on the Fontana Show, Big Play Sports Network, and The Rock. I'm Matt Fontana. We're so happy to be joined by Justin Lada. You can follow him on Twitter at JL_baseball, Locked On Guardians podcast, everywhere and anywhere that you can get it. So we talked a lot about the lineup and the batting. Let's go to pitching. We start with the rotation. Big extension for Bybee, which is just what, the Guardians have to do. They take up some arbitration years and lock up a guy. Justin, I like Tanner Bybee, and I hope that he just slaps me in the face this year and proves to me that he can be a top-end rotation guy. I don't know why, Justin. I have a hard time just, I guess, buying into Tanner Bybee. Tell me why I'm an idiot, please. I need it.
I think Tanner's the top of the rotation guy. It starts with mentality and work ethic. I mean, you got to have the talent, right? I think he has the pitch mix. We're talking about a guy who has the fastball that can ride up in the zone, mid-90s. He's improved his slider. He's added the cutter. He's adding pitches. He's got the sinker, too. He's going to break out this year. He's always had a great changeup that he can throw to both sides of the plate. He's got control. He's got, a relatively clean injury history, knock on wood, because that could pop up at any time, which is, I think, part of the reason the extension was signed. But I do think he has the pitch characteristics that really work well off each other. He has the control. He has the mindset. And I really think he's grown, too. The biggest thing I heard from him this offseason or this spring training was talking about how he felt like last year he learned he didn't have to be perfect. When he got runners on last year, he would sit there and think, okay, I have to make a perfect pitch. I have to not allow any runs here. And he realized that, okay, if the bases get loaded with one out and a run scores, well, that's a good outcome if I can get out of this with one run. He doesn't have to be perfect, and he has to live the pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat. He has to realize that he has to be more in the moment. And year three, you like to see the guys take the leap in year three. I think he can. And I also think you're going to see him just more comfortable. He has the contract extension, right? He can go out there and pitch worry-free on that too. So I think that's a big deal for him. And he knows the Guardians have confidence in him, right? They invested in him. The Guardians don't really invest in pitchers this way. Like, yes, he only really beat Carlos Carrasco's second extension by $1 million, and it could be more than that if they pick up the option. But the Guardians really don't invest in pitching like this. Carrasco and Kluber were the last guys they did this with, and those guys were rare cases, right? Kluber was a late career breakout. Carrasco had a bunch of health issues and wanted to stay in Cleveland, so he took an under market deal. And Tanner did too. He wanted to be here too. He took an under market deal to stay. But Cleveland really hasn't invested in pitching like this. So he has the confidence from the organization. And I think this is the right guy to invest in. And I think he's a guy who is ready to lead this rotation.
Big year for my guy, Gavin Williams. You know, you and I have gone back and forth on Twitter about it. I'm a real big believer in him. You know, McKenzie to the bullpen. He's out of options. That'll be interesting. Lively back, fine. My guy, Joey Cantillo. Just the rest of it, again, guarded optimism. Bad pun, I apologize. But, like, I see guys where I'm like, if you can get the best version of a few of these guys, you can piece together this rotation. We know we'll get Shane Bieber. It's so funny that, you know, he's injured, he's out of my mind, but he'll be back eventually midseason. Just the rest of the rotation, your vibes on what you're going to get out of the rest of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin Williams was the hot breakout pick of the spring. He looked really good. He worked hard over the offseason. He got back to some good mechanics. The fastball looks back. I'll be curious what the secondaries look like. You know, Tanner was really efficient during the season too, or the preseason, and I think that was a big key for him. I'd like to see Gavin Williams be a little bit more efficient too. He can have some long innings. So, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic on Gavin having a huge year this year. That could be a great 1-2 punch. I like the addition of Luis Ortiz. He kind of walked the entire city of Phoenix in spring, which is a little bit alarming. He's not really a high strikeout guy, so he can't be a guy who's walking a lot of dudes. But I think you have to give Cleveland a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Is that scary to say that? But when it comes to pitching, you know, I've heard from a lot of people this offseason saying, well, when the Guardians acquire a pitcher like that, I always think, well, what is the other team missing? And I think that's how you look at Luis Ortiz. And he started off slow last year with walks, and that was when he was in the bullpen, and we got to the rotation, things took off for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ortiz kind of has a slow start this year with command and control, and he picks up throughout the year. But I feel confident what they can do with him. They're learning him a little more. Ben Lively's the steady Eddie, right? He's going to be fine, hopefully, throughout the year. The nice thing about the rotation this year is they have options. I mean, Carlos Carrasco, you know, God love the guy. He's a great representative of Cleveland. The story's fantastic, but probably not the guy you wanted to have the second most starts in this team a year ago. It was hard to watch some outings. This year, you know, you've got a healthy Gavin Williams to start the year. You've got Tanner Bybee. Luis Ortiz should be an improvement. Ben Lively's solid. Logan Allen, you hope he's better than he was a year ago. But now, like you said, you've got Joey Cantillo. I know he's starting in the bullpen, but you can put him back in the rotation. You got to get Slade Ciccone healthy, but he could be an interesting option. There's Doug Nikhazy, who also has control issues that I think could be a rotation contributor. You've got a couple guys off the 40 that could help out at some point this year as well. And the Tristan McKenzie thing, I can't believe. I know. I can't believe.
Justin, like, oh man, this guy was ready to explode. Injury, and it's like it's gone. Somebody came in and like zapped the pitching out of him. Like, it's so and we all love him and we know how good he can be, but what happened there?
He got space jammed. I don't know. Yeah, someone came in and gave him a baseball.
Get him some of Mike's magic water bottle, whatever it is. He needs it, man.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm talking myself into this, but this is my take on McKenzie this year. He's in the bullpen. I think they're trying the Carlos Carrasco fix with him. Do you remember back in 2015 where they put was it 14 or 15? I can't remember. It's been so long now. They put Carrasco in the bullpen because Carrasco had the same issues, right? He didn't start games out well. He wasn't throwing his best stuff. He wasn't attacking the zone. He wasn't letting it eat for as long as he could. Same issues Tristan McKenzie has, right? He's just not attacking the guys early on. Maybe it's a confidence issue. I feel like it's a confidence issue. I feel like they're trying the Carlos Carrasco fix. So you put him in the bullpen, you force him to come in, throw strikes right away, and throw your best stuff, and however long you go. I kind of buy that might work with him. Like, I kind of buy that mentality. I can't believe I'm talking myself into it, but I don't know if that means he'll go back into the rotation like Carrasco did, but I don't know. I've doubted for so long. There's a lot of people over the years who have said, well, Tristan McKenzie needs to add weight and all this other stuff, durability. And I get those concerns too. And my concern is this a guy who can pitch back-to-back days? Is this a guy who can pitch 2 out of 3 days in a row? Body type mentality? Like, are those things he can do? I don't know. Those are questions I really absolutely have about him. But I can kind of talk myself into this bullpen thing working for him, that it forces him to come out and throw strikes and just force guys to hit his stuff. When he came out of the bullpen in spring training, the fastball velocity jumped even more. He was already throwing as hard as he's ever had in spring training as a reliever anyway. If you force him to just maybe throw 2 pitches and focus on attacking hitters out of the bullpen for an inning, maybe it works. I could kind of see it.
I hope so. And getting him right would, just like you said earlier, found money. That's some bonus if you can find it with Tristan McKenzie. Final thing quickly, Justin, the bullpen, which was one of the best that we've ever seen in this town. Class A should be locked down. Like you said, you worry maybe a little bit about so much of Cade Smith and Tim Herron and Hunter Gaddis, but the fact is that there's 3 of those guys still be able to do it. What are you expecting about that back end of that bullpen?
I still think it's going to be really good. Like, Cade Smith's fastball is just a unicorn pitch. He has great extension on it, and he throws hard, so it's really hard to hit. Hopefully in year 2, you'll see a little more of the splitter and the sweeper from him, so he can make some adjustments. Gaddis too took some time off, so that'll be good. I like, though, that they've kind of added in some protection, right? Like Joey Cantillo starting the year out of the bullpen. That's smart. You add a guy like Jacob Junis, who a year ago with Cincinnati came out and was a reliever, transitioned to the rotation, and did really well for that when he was healthy. That gives you some protection. You have the kind of Pedro Avila role there a little bit, right? They also went on and added Paul Sewald, who was the Diamondbacks' best reliever in their 2023 World Series season. And I know a lot of people will say, well, they thought Scott Barlow was going to be that guy a year ago, and he really struggled. And maybe that'll be the case. But you're adding options right this year to make sure that you don't have that issue. And they have guys in the minors that I feel like can help them too. You've got Andrew Walters coming, who was up at the end of last year, starting the year in AAA. He's a guy who will be there on reserve for you this year. They got to get Franco Alamon healthy. If he does, he can be an option. I just worry about the injuries with him. But they've got guys that are built in. Slate, again, I talked about Slate Ciccone. I don't know if he's going to be a starter or reliever. When he gets healthy, they'll probably build him up as a starter, so they have that option available for him. But he's a guy who would work really well in the bullpen too. With rotation, we talked about they've got Bieber and maybe Means coming back too. There's some NRI guys down there too that could help too. Vince Velasquez, I thought, threw the ball really well this spring. He's going to stick around in AAA to start the season. Guy who's got a big arm, a lot of good stuff. I could see him working as a bullpen arm. I think the nice thing is that they have options. So if there is any regression going on, that they have guys they can plug in that are going to maybe help stave off that regression. And the nice thing about bullpens too is that you can rebuild them on the fly. There's a lot of teams that are building bullpens throughout the year. Things can change. Guys get hurt. So I think that even if there are some struggles in the bullpen, they can go out and they can figure it out along the way, because bullpens are one of those things you can fix throughout the year. We've seen it in the past.
Just get him the lead. That's going to be it for me for a lot of this season. Get him the lead and take it from there. Just not the last time we're going to talk. We'll talk to you soon when the season gets rolling. Go follow him on Twitter at JL_baseball. Follow Locked On Guard. Subscribe to all the podcasts. Happy opening day, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, happy holidays, man. Thanks for coming on or having me on, and I can't wait to do it again.
Let's do it again. Justin Lada, you can again check him out. Locked On Guards. Maybe we do baseball immaculate grid coming up, Ryan. We'll see how that goes. We'll do it next. Fontana Show right here on Big Play, the Rock Sports Network. All right, Ryan, you want to do it? A little baseball immaculate grid on opening day. What do we got?
If you're going to force me, I'm just letting you know now I'm not going to be much help.
Expectations are low. Welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play, the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Hey, I saw the graphic. Brand new show for us. Carlos Baerga Show. Carlos and Gab. What a baseball show we got. Folks, download that Big Play app. We got everything for you. Brand new show. All right, let's roll. We're going to need Carlos for this one because I don't know. All right, 208 seat Roberto Clemente. The light grade. It's got to be. Okay, it's got to be Miggy Cabrera.
Yes, did not play for Boston.
Okay.
Or can I spell Miguel, please? Not with a Q, believe it or not.
That'd be a cool name way to spell it.
Miguel.
Silver Slugger, 200 hit season, greatest hitter of all time, Tony Gwynn. Oh, Pete Rose had to have done that too, but go Gwynn.
Go Gwynn.
Yeah, go Tony Gwynn. It's got to be right. Okay, all right, good job. All right, let's just do Silver Sluggers on down.
Okay, Orioles.
I don't think Adley Rutschman.
I was thinking
it's got to be Cal. Not
yeah,
Ripken.
I mean,
it's got to be Cal.
Yeah, I was trying to think of somebody recent.
No, it's got to be Cal Ripken. And listen, if we go out on that, then we really have no business doing this. But it's got to be Cal Ripken. Okay, and then David Ortiz.
Yeah, we could do a plethora.
Because he started with the Twins. It wasn't Detroit. All right, now we get dicey here, buddy.
Okay.
All right.
Is no
Boston? Okay, think of Pedroia didn't go anywhere else.
Justin Masterson, he didn't pitch for Detroit. I know he pitched for Boston.
Did he pitch for Boston? Did he not pitch for Pittsburgh?
I don't know that one.
I don't know if he went to Detroit. Johnny Damon, Detroit, Boston, right? Remember at the end of his career, he was just going everywhere? Johnny Damon works. Does he not?
I believe so.
Okay. All right, nice. Okay, nice. Okay. All right.
Screaming at me, Pittsburgh Orioles.
Did Andrew McCutcheon? He didn't go to Baltimore. and those off years, right? He left and then he came back to Pittsburgh.
Maybe. Nah, I don't know.
Obviously, he's not Garrett Cole.
Adam Jones. I don't think he played in Detroit or Pittsburgh.
No.
Chris
Adam
Davis.
Jones, if we get really dicey, I kind of maybe like...
Did Chris Davis ever go?
Austin Jackson?
Didn't
he played in Detroit.
Mark Reynolds play for the Orioles?
Yes.
And didn't he?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the Pirates?
Rip it.
Right?
Yeah. I kind of like that one.
Or am I totally making that up?
No, dude, if we go out on that one, so be it. But I liked it.
We got a little bit of time. Let's just see if we can get...
Jason Kendall, remember him?
No.
Oh, you don't remember him?
For which one?
Catcher. I know he played for Pittsburgh.
For which one?
Pittsburgh, outfielder.
Pittsburgh and Orioles?
No, I think Pittsburgh bought, but I'm trying to think of this Pittsburgh player who's an outfielder.
Okay. Benintendi didn't play for...
Jason Bay.
Jason Bay?
I kind of like that one there. Wow!
Okay, if we go 8 for 9 on this.
Dude, I think we've already won the grade today. I think we've already won the grade.
Orioles, Tigers.
Again, like Austin Jackson, I know played in Detroit. Maybe he made his way to Baltimore. I don't know.
It's gonna be a pitcher that.
It's not Scherzer. It's not Verlander. Jabba Chamberlain.
Wow,
remember that?
I do.
Deep cut. I mean, we played Detroit so much that, like, I'm thinking more Detroit players.
Oh no, Rafael Iglesias. I don't think he played in Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say we just got to try Austin Jackson. Rip me Austin Jackson for that middle one right there. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we'll wrap up some Cavs here coming up. Nah.
I will take that.
I take that. I will take that with the Immaculate Grid here on opening day.
All day.
All right, final break for us. Got to wrap up the Cavs West Coast trip. We'll do it next. Fontana Show. Stay with us. All right, we're back off that West Coast swing for the Cavs. Remember when I said on this show that there was no loss that was going to bother me?
Yes.
They tested my faith, but I will continue to hold to that. Fontana Show right here on The Rock, Big Play Sports Network.
I'll be a little bit salty if they lose to the Knicks.
Yeah, and again, I just think they're really bored. I really do. And their shots aren't falling. They're still getting opening looks. But now the game is on about you're going to be sitting these guys. Like Adam Silver's going to have a heart attack on this player participation thing because the Cavs are just going to be sitting so many guys out. We've talked. I'm not so worried about the number 1 seed overall because the Thunder, they're good, but I don't know if home court really makes all that difference. I don't see Boston chasing us down. I'm worried about the psyche. I'm more worried about Max Strus finding his shot. I'm starting to see Darius starting to turn a corner a little bit here. Those are the intangibles that I'm going to care so much more about with this Cavs team than actual box score. And I don't want to say wins and losses, but even wins and losses. And they're going to flip some guys in and out, which is just fine. I'm still over the moon about this team, Ryan. I'm not concerned you had a tough West Coast trip. So be it. It happens. Get back right here, finish out the season strong, and get to the playoffs.
Yeah, in terms of the home court, I think it's obviously, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, it's so much more vital as long as you have home court over Boston through the playoffs than a younger team like OKC with less experience. But in terms of the Cavs, it's hard to be worried. I think bored, maybe not the right word, but I get what you're saying. Maybe it's just you have your sights. It's easy, and they've said it themselves, to get set on the playoffs when you've had such a great regular season. And you know what? That's what Kenny said in the beginning of the season. He said there's going to be stretches where we suck. Now, the Cavs haven't sucked, but this is the worst that they've looked in that game stretch. But you have a chance against the Pistons, the Spurs to get a get-right stretch for the Cavs.
Get right back is 100%. Rest some of these guys, and you'll be just fine. Appreciate everybody joining us. If you missed the show, go back on YouTube at Big Play. Instagram is Big Play, the Big Play app, and we're so happy to be on The Rock 4 to 5 every Friday, presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford and Garage Beer. We'll talk to you next week. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.